Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and today I want to talk about how to become the average millionaire in some simple steps to actually follow, and in total, they're only like around 5 steps. And by the way, since age 7 to age 18, I always had this twisted perspective of what someone rich is supposed to look like according to the media, according to cartoons, according to music. For example, guys, okay, I thought in order to be rich, I needed to have this stuff, a Rolls Royce, jewelry, nice clothes, all this stuff. But in reality, this is just someone that's an entrepreneur trying to sell music, and to do that, he sells also a lifestyle. Then I also thought that basically rich people were evil, always bad, because in cartoons, I always saw them pictured that way. But in reality, this is just one bad rich guy. Not every single person is going to be like this. And then also, I thought that to be rich, you didn't have to care about money in any way, because when I thought about Warren Buffett, it was always like this old guy that doesn't even care that he's rich and doesn't even drive anything fancy. But in reality, it's because all he cares about is just having his investment record, allocating capital, learning, and teaching. So overall, guys, what I'm saying is this, okay? The picture that I was sold when it came to being wealthy was obviously an extreme bias picture. And that's why when I read this book called The Millionaire Next Door, it changed my entire perspective of what the average millionaire is actually supposed to be like and what they're actually supposed to do. Because by the way, the average millionaire does not come from a rich family. 90% of them are first generation millionaires. So in reality, if your mom and dad are poor, like mine were, that doesn't mean that you can't go out there and become a millionaire. And you don't need a fancy chain. You don't need to be evil, and you don't need not to care about money. So that's the perspective I want to give you guys here initially. And by the way, guys, if you guys are new here, I post videos every single day on YouTube. So you should also subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. On top of that, also destroying the like button. And by the way, guys, comment down below and let me know, did you ever notice that basically in cartoons, like rich people most of the time were always evil? Or was it just me? Comment down below, let me know. And now the first step to actually becoming the average millionaire is basically you want to have frugal habits. You want to be a frugal person. You want to live below your means. Now, here's a crazy story I have never told anyone, like at all, especially you guys, okay? The answer is that basically my grandmother had her first kid when she was 14 years old. And after that, she had around 8 kids in total. Let's just say, for example, back then, they didn't have a TV. Let's just say that. But the answer is that basically, she lived in a place like this. I'll show you guys right here, okay? She lived in a third world country with 8 kids and a husband, obviously, in a place like this. Basically, a shed. And she lived right next to a river. So literally, every single time it would actually rain, everything would be flooded in the house. And the only thing she had was basically cattle. Now, cattle is basically sheep, goats, also cows and pigs. And she would grab those animals, sell them, make money, use some of that money to actually live, use some of that extra money to actually save up for things. And eventually, she grabbed all those animals, sold all of them, and went ahead and bought a house in another town that was actually a little bit more modern. And that is the only reason I can say strongly that I'm here today. Or basically, I would still be in that place you lived before, living next to a river, basically with no electricity whatsoever. And by the way, a lot of my grandmother's friends still live in those places because basically they did not live below their means. They always lived above their means and never went out there and moved from those places to then go ahead and have a better life for them and also their kids. So overall, when I think about frugality, guys, and you probably think about frugality, you probably think about being cheap, extremely cheap, and not spending any money whatsoever. But the general rules that I have is basically, if I want to buy something that I don't need and can't afford in cash, well, I just make a savings goal for it and then just buy it later on. If I want to buy the iPhone 12 and I can't afford it right now, I don't go ahead and borrow it, right? I just go ahead and save it for the money and just buy a used one, okay, in cash. That way I own it. There is no payment on it. If I want to buy a car, I buy a used car. That way I own it. Didn't cost me that much money, and I don't have a $25,000 loan looming over my head. On top of that, my expenses, I keep them below 70% of whatever I make. That way, I always have extra money to actually go out there and do other things. For example, invest and also have fun and stuff like that. And then lastly, I don't get into debt buying things that I want today, but I can't afford yet. So I don't go out there, use a credit card, buy this and that and this and that, because basically I want it, I need it today, but I can't afford it. I just don't do that. And then that way, basically, I'm not in debt and I don't have any crazy payments actually happening. Now, if I'm being honest, I learned this system from basically a book I read, but then I saw my mom actually practicing it herself without even knowing what she was actually doing, okay? So basically, she brings in home around $27,000. She spends no more than $18,000, which is basically less than 70% of her income. And on top of that, she basically goes out there and buys things for cash that she actually wants to buy. Her car, bought it for cash. Her house, she actually owns it and doesn't have a mortgage on it either. And notice that basically, she's been doing that for a long time. And she's gotten everything she needs, basically, a house, a car, extra cash, and is also working on a property to actually build some rental income also. But the point is, you might say also, Tommy, well, we're in America. You can't do that. You can't just buy a house for cash. I know that. So basically, just buy a house you can afford and don't have it to the point where your expenses exceed 70% of your income. And then that way, you'll also be fine, because basically, in America, we can also make a lot more than $27K every single year, between $40K all the way up to whatever you actually want to make. There's like an endless amount of money out there, and you can always do YouTube videos also, just like I do, and also make some extra income on the side. There's like a lot of opportunities in America, okay? That's not the point. But overall, be frugal, and that's the first step to actually becoming the average millionaire. And now the second step is basically, you want to invest at least 20% of your income. If you don't want to do that, that's my rule. But if you don't want to do that, just make sure you invest at least a minimum of 10% of your income. Now, what I mean by this is this, okay? Although my mom and my grandmother couldn't invest into the stock market in the 1900s, at least we can today for a very cheap price whenever we actually want to and whatever we actually want to invest. So in reality, I recommend you invest 20% of whatever you make into the stock market, or for example, into real estate or into your retirement accounts. That way in the future, you have income that's going to come in even when you're not working. For example, guys, let's say you make around $48,000 every single year, which is basically a lot of money and a good salary if you ask me. And let's say you saved and invested 20% of what you actually make. That's only $9,600, which means you still get to live on around $39,400, if I'm not mistaken here. The answer is, with this money, let's say you actually invested it into some index funds and they grew at around 8% over the next 30 years, right? How much money would you have in 30 years? Well, here is the answer, okay? Let's say again, you started off with $0. This is a compound interest calculator, by the way. And you invested $9,600 every single year. And you gave this money 30 years to actually grow at an 8% return, when the reality after that, you would have around $1.1 million. In 40 years, that would actually be around, what is it, like $2.6 million. So in reality, you don't really need to invest that much money to actually become wealthy when you actually retire, and make sure you have money coming in so that way you don't have to keep working and working and working. And by the way, $9,600 is only around every single week $185 every single day. Well, that's only around $26 every single hour. That's only around $1 an hour. And that's how I break things down to kind of get like the little number. That way I know, for example, hey, with $1 every hour, I can have $2.6 million, something like that, when I actually retire. To me, that's awesome, you know, and that's why I break things down like this. And by the way, I get two excuses all the time when I say this. The first one is basically, Tommy, I don't want to wait 30 years to be wealthy. The answer is, you don't have to wait that long, okay? If you want to get wealthier faster, instead of basically spending 70%, just spend 50% and then invest 50% of your income, and that way you get there a lot more faster. But in reality, you're going to sacrifice a lot today to then get a lot more later on. That's up to you. And by the way, time is going to pass either way. Here's something that I did once, okay? Try going to a nursery home, okay, and talk to old people and ask them, what do you wish you have done with your money when you were actually younger? And the answer you usually get is basically, I wish I would have invested a lot earlier, or I wish I would have saved some of my money and not spent it all. And that's the general answer you're basically going to get. And guess what? You're going to be old like this, okay? I hope you enjoy it, right? Because I want to enjoy my youth also. But old age is going to come no matter what you do. So it's best you invest your money today. That way in the future, you don't have to worry about handouts. And lastly, the next excuse I get is basically, Tommy, I don't know how to actually invest. The answer is, I have 2 videos linked down below for free on investing basics. On top of that, I recommend these 2 books right here, The Richest Man in Babylon and also The Little Book About Common Sense Investing by John C. Bogle. And those 2 books right there, if you use Audible, my link down below, you get them both for free. And if you cancel, you still keep those 2 free books. So if you want to learn, free videos, also free books, and also free information everywhere out there. And if you want to basically do what I do, I have my portfolio also linked down below. That way you can copy it and do exactly what I do when it comes to investing. And now the 3rd step is basically choosing between social status and actual financial independence. And I noticed a long time ago when I was a lot younger, well, not that young, like around 18 or 19, that basically a lot of us are like babies, okay? You know when you were a baby, like middle school, and you were like, hey, I want to make sure when I go to school, I want to show all my friends that I basically have the nicest toys and the best toys out there. I want to show that, right? It's kind of like that ego. We all have it, okay? We all have it. And the idea is that basically today, adults are like the exact same way. You want to show Ted that you have a BMW, you have a fancy car, you have a fancy wife, you have fancy clothes, you have all these fancy things, but the minute anything goes wrong with your job, you're kind of like worried. Hey, what am I going to do? I have all these bills, this mortgage, these credit cards, this car I can't afford. What do I do now? The answer is you have to pick between looking rich, social status, and also, hey, do I want to be actually financially independent? Those are the 2 main choices, okay? And by the way, I'm not one of these people that say, for example, hey, don't enjoy anything. Don't buy anything expensive. The answer is, I think life has a lot to offer, right? It has fancy clothes, nice cars, nice technology, like nice TVs, nice phones. Like I like all this stuff too, right? But the answer is don't buy those things when you can't afford them. Buy them when you can afford them, and that way you can actually enjoy them a lot more. If I buy an iPhone 12 today, I can enjoy it. I know basically I don't owe anybody. If I buy, for example, a Tesla Model 3 car, I can enjoy it, right? Because I actually bought it, I can afford it. But if I buy a Lamborghini Urus, right, I would basically be driving around thinking like, hey, if anything happens with this car, I'm gonna be screwed. I can't afford this, okay? That's the point I'm making, okay? So whatever you wanna enjoy in life, just make sure you can actually afford it after you're actually financially independent, and that way you enjoy all the good things life has to offer. So again, you wanna look rich, or do you actually wanna be rich? You wanna be a baby, or do you wanna be like not a baby? Because even adults are babies, okay? Just wait and be patient. It's okay if you can't afford those things today. And I have to tell myself every single day in the mirror, hey, Tommy, stop being a baby, okay? Don't buy that car. Don't buy this. Don't buy that. We fight that urge every single day. And every single person has like that ego always there wanting to show something off, okay? And you fight it every day. Now, the 4th step is basically picking the right job or the right business. I remember when I picked my degree, guys, I spent, honestly, less than 30 minutes deciding, hey, what am I going to be for the rest of my life? Like, less than 30 minutes I spent deciding, like, hey, what do I want to do when I go to college, okay? And to be honest with you, I got extremely lucky that I picked a degree that had everything I actually needed to be successful in the future, okay? Like accountant. Accountant is going to be around forever. Can you make a lot of money? The answer is yes. Can you be independent? The answer is yes. I got extremely lucky. But my other friends, that say, for example, hey, I'm going to be a psychologist. I'm going to be a business manager major, whatever it is, okay? They make minimum wage, a lot of them, okay? I got lucky, but the point is you don't have to get lucky. Just spend more than 5 hours just picking out a degree and doing all the research on what exactly you actually want to do. Every single person watching this video right here should be making more than $48,000 every single year. And I strongly believe that. And only if you really enjoy your job and you don't want to leave it, well, that's when you can actually say, hey, I'm fine with making 30K or 35K here, Tommy. I love my job, right? That's fine. That's fine. But in reality, in today's world, guys, if you're an accountant, 4 years of school, you can go out there and earn around $150 per hour or like $250 per hour, depending on the work you're actually doing, or have your own firm and earn even more money. On top of that, if you're a home inspector, you can make around $52,000 every single year. And lastly, if you're a landscape designer, you can make around $54,000 every single year. The point is that there are a ton of jobs out there that make you a lot of money, and any job out there it's just a skill you have to learn. So basically, whatever it is out there that you actually want or are interested in, you can go ahead and get it just by going to school or getting a license or getting a course, whatever you want to do. But the point is, you don't have to ever make less than 48 to 40K, especially today in America, how we're actually living. A trucker makes like around like $75,000 or $70,000 every single year. Like, there are a lot of jobs out there that pay you a lot of money. And whenever I look for a degree, I look for 5 things, okay? Is a degree in demand? Does it provide value for the long term, okay? Some degrees are in demand, but they're not gonna be here for the long term. So you wanna make sure it's going to be here for the long term. Accountant, can you make a lot of money? Yes. Is it gonna be around for a long time? The answer is yes. Is it in demand? The answer is yes. And on top of that, make sure you like it, you're good at it, and it makes you a lot of money. Picking a degree is a business deal, right? You have to make sure you actually enjoy it, you like it, but it's also going to make you money. If you only enjoy it and you like it, well, that's called a hobby if it doesn't make you any money. So always remember, okay, my degree has to make me money and I have to enjoy it also, okay? So just go out there, try different things out and see exactly what you actually like. By the way, degree, trade school, license, courses, training, mentorships, whatever you want to do, I don't care. Just make sure you're not making less than $30,000 every single year. Like my mom making $27,000 is a cool story, right? But you don't want to live on $27,000 and try to make that work, okay? That's not what you want at all. And lastly, guys, number 5 here, when it comes to becoming the average millionaire, is basically you have to be patient. When you get a mortgage on a house, it might take you like 30 years to pay it off, but if you pay it off early, maybe 7 to 15 years on average. But the point is that that'll take time to actually pay off. When you're investing, that'll take time to actually build up. When you're buying rental properties or trying to business out, that's going to take time also. So overall, you have to execute patience every single day. I know, hey, if I'm doing everything correctly and I have the right information, all it takes is consistency and also time. So always be patient. So to make this a lot more easier, just make sure whatever job you actually have, make sure you enjoy it. The last thing you want to do is basically work a job you hate just because it pays the bills and it pays you money. That's something I never want you to do and something I hated doing also. So just make sure whatever you do, make sure you enjoy it, and that way the time passes a lot more easier and you enjoy whatever you actually do. Everyone thinks like the best life is basically when you retire. In reality, I think the best life is basically when you can retire, but you choose not to because basically you enjoy your job so much and you enjoy having something to do and you also enjoy giving value. Like I could be here making YouTube videos for the next like 80 years and I would be 100% fine with that. I love what I do, and you gotta find something that you actually love, that you actually do, and it's gonna give you the ability to be patient while you're actually achieving wealth, paying down a house, getting basically those investments up, and basically maybe buying some rental property, like whatever you're doing. But just be patient, have a good job you actually enjoy, and always remember, okay, if you're doing everything correctly, just stay consistent and be patient. And guys, that is about it when it comes to becoming the average millionaire. Comment down below and let me know, what is your goal when it comes to how much money you want to make every single year passively? Comment down below, let me know. And by the way, I'll start it here. My goal is to make around $48,000 passively every single year. And to do that, just times the number by 25 and it'll tell you how much money you actually need. So in reality, I'm going to need around $1.2 million. And if I take 4% of my portfolio every single year, well, in reality, that's $48,000 every single year just in passive income from the stock market, not including real estate, not including business, not including a bunch of other factors. Guys, I hope this video helped out a ton. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. As always, like this video if you liked it. On top of that, also, if you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And before I go, if you want to text me or talk to me, search my Patreon, link down below, or send me a DM on Instagram, TommyBryson. And if you want to see exactly a video on investing into retirement accounts, here's a video right here. Just tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.